Welcome to our deep dive into The Traveler.
Ooh.
This novel by Ruben Garcia, Rugar, really takes us on a wild ride
Yeah, golly.
through all the complexities and consequences of achieving immortality.
Yeah.
And I think what's fascinating is that it's not just a futuristic adventure.
Yeah.
It really digs into the what ifs
Right.
of a world where death
Oh.
is no longer inevitable.
Yeah, it really is a thought experiment, I think, more than anything.
It is. Yeah.
Which is what I think makes it so fascinating.
Totally. Yeah.
It's not just presenting it as a scientific breakthrough, but really as like
Or-
a societal and psychological
Totally.
experiment.
Yes.
The story follows Robert Strong,
Okay.
and we see the ripple effects
Okay.
of his creation across centuries.
He's an engineer, right?
He is,
These are-
develops this incredible immortality technology.
Yeah.
And we get to see how that plays out.
Yeah. And it's not just his personal journey, but
No.
it's how that reshapes.
Humanity's relationship with life, death, and everything in between.
That's kind of where the book gets
Yeah,
really thought-provoking.
absolutely. It forces us to ask, is immortality a gift
Ooh.
or a curse?
That's a big question, right?
Huge question.
And I think that's the perfect lens through which to view this.
Yeah.
So let's start with the dawn of immortality itself.
Okay.
Robert Strong figures out a way to halt and reverse aging
Right.
using nanobiotic serum.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, we're talking about microscopic machines that repair
Yeah.
and rejuvenate your cells indefinitely.
Yes.
So no more disease, no more aging.
Right.
Sounds pretty amazing on the surface.
I mean, you would think, right,
Yeah,
but as always, it comes with some baggage.
of course.
Right. And one of the first dilemmas that arises is around access,
Uh-huh.
because not everybody qualifies for immortality.
Right.
There's strict criteria based on health, mental stability, even criminal history.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, if you're going to live forever, you want to make sure it's with, like, the right people.
Yeah.
But that begs the question, then, of, like, who decides who's worthy?
Right, and that's exactly it.
Right.
It's this ethical quagmire
Yeah.
that the book really explores, and
Yeah.
it also creates this instant division
Uh-huh.
between those who are deemed worthy,
Right.
creating this new elite class,
Yeah.
and those who are essentially left behind
Yeah.
to face their mortality. And then there's hints of the wealthy,
Okay.
trying to buy their way in,
Oh.
leading to some disastrous outcomes.
What kind of disastrous outcomes are we talking?
Well, there's a scene where
Okay.
this billionaire who's desperate to cheat the system jumps off of a skyscraper,
Oh.
convinced he's just going to regenerate.
Okay.
And he does.
Okay.
But the book describes it as this horrifying, agonizing process.
Oh, God.
It's like he's ripped apart and reassembled by these nanobots.
Oh, my gosh.
So he becomes this prisoner of his own immortality,
Oh, my God.
trapped in this cycle of self-inflicted pain and regeneration.
So this is like a cautionary tale
Oh, it is.
about, the pursuit of immortality
Yeah.
gone wrong.
Very much so.
Okay. Well, that's pretty grim.
Yeah.
But let's move on to another unexpected consequence
Okay.
that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And that's how immortality kind of changes our relationships
Yeah.
with pleasure.
Absolutely.
So these nanobots, they're so efficient at protecting the body
Uh-huh.
that they neutralize anything harmful that comes into the system.
Right.
So that includes things that we might consider pleasurable, like
Right.
alcohol, caffeine,
Uh-huh.
even recreational drugs.
Yeah.
So no more morning coffee or a glass of wine after work.
Exactly. So that would be a
That's a major adjustment.
huge adjustment.
But what's so fascinating to me is, like, why did the author
Well-
choose to focus on this?
Right. I think it really speaks to this
Yeah.
question of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
The book almost suggests that those little indulgences,
Mhm.
even if they're not good for us, are part of what makes life enjoyable.
I see.
And by taking those away,
Uh-huh.
you're taking away a part of our humanity.
Yeah. And the book illustrates this beautifully through an anecdote.
Yeah.
This man laments the fact that he can no longer enjoy a beer
Yeah.
after a long day of work.
Right. And it's such a simple detail,
Yeah.
but it really highlights the unforeseen losses
Right.
that come with this seemingly perfect existence.
It's that whole you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Totally.
Kind of.
Yes.
But on like a
On a huge scale.
huge level.
Yeah.
And this loss of these simple pleasures isn't just a personal dilemma.
No.
It has these wider repercussions.
Absolutely it does.
So what happens to society?
Well, the book paints a very vivid picture of the fallout.
Okay.
Entire industries collapse.
Like what?
Well, like anything built around, alcohol or
Mhm.
coffee
Oh, yeah.
and social habits completely change.
Okay.
People are really struggling
Right.
to find new ways to connect and unwind.
So there's like a sense of,
Like discontent.
yeah, like this underlying
Yeah.
unrest,
Yeah.
even though they've achieved this.
Supposedly perfect society.
Right.
Right.
So it's not just about like the individual missing their glass of wine.
Right.
It's like a breakdown of social structures.
Yes.
The loss of shared experiences.
Yeah.
This yearning for something that immortality just can't provide.
That's it.
Okay. Wow, this is heavy stuff.
It is.
Um,
It is.
so this brings up another question.
Okay.
What happens to the concept of family in a
Oh.
world where people don't die?
Right. Well, that's a big one. And the novel
Yeah.
explores it in depth.
Okay.
With immortality, the whole notion of legacy shifts.
Okay.
Many immortals completely lose interest in having children.
Yeah, like why commit to decades of parenting when you have an eternity?
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, if the human desire
Mm-hmm.
to have children is at least in part driven by our own mortality.
All right.
Like if we know we're going to die,
Mm.
we want to leave something behind.
Right. We want to make sure that a part of us carries on.
Exactly. And the book doesn't present this as like a cold,
Great.
calculated decision.
Yeah.
We see these characters grappling with the fear
Uh-huh.
of outliving their children.
Right.
If they choose mortality.
Yeah.
And this profound sense of isolation that comes with that.
Yeah, like it's almost a reverse of the parent-child dynamic.
It is.
Right. Instead of parents worrying about
Yeah.
the loss of their children, it's the children
Right.
who might experience
Yeah.
that grief.
Absolutely.
And that has repercussions on a societal level, too.
Oh, absolutely.
So what happens?
Well, you see governments start to panic about economic stagnation,
Mm-hmm.
the lack of fresh perspectives as birth rates plummet.
Right.
So it's this fascinating irony.
Uh-huh.
We were worried about overpopulation.
Yeah.
Now we're worried about underpopulation.
Yeah. It's like we can't win no matter how long we live.
Exactly.
So we got social upheaval. Yeah.
Third, you got economic woes.
Right.
People are missing their coffee.
Right.
What other unforeseen consequences does the traveler explore?
Well, this is where we really start to see the psychological impact
Okay.
of immortality.
Okay.
Really takes center stage. And the book digs into how, for many,
Yeah.
the absence of death leads to this
Uh-huh.
profound erosion of purpose.
This makes sense to me if you have forever. Why bother striving for anything?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Why set goals?
Yeah.
Why take risks?
Yeah. Why even get out of bed in the morning?
Totally. The Traveler really captures this.
Yeah.
There's a scene where an immortal casually mentions that they'll get back to work in 50 years.
Oh, my God.
But it's this time warp.
It's procrastination
Yes.
taken to the
extreme. Yeah.
But this lack of urgency, this sense of what's the point,
Right.
that has to have wider implications.
Absolutely.
What happens when people stop contributing to society?
Well, that's where the book's vision of the future.
It's a little bleak.
Okay.
Because this apathy spreads.
Right.
Automation, AI take over.
Okay.
Jobs become scarce.
Uh-huh.
And the sense of purposelessness
Yeah.
really pervades society.
It's not just the economy, it's
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah. Mental health issues skyrocket
Ah.
as these immortals
Right.
grapple with this existential despair
Right.
of a life without end.
So it's like, even with eternal life,
Yeah.
the human spirit still needs something
It does.
to strive for.
It needs meaning.
Right. It's there
Absolutely.
to give meaning to existence.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about living longer. It's about finding a reason to live
That's it.
at all.
Yeah.
And in the absence of that reason,
Right.
immortality becomes less of a gift
Uh,
and more of a burden.
It does.
And for some, that burden becomes unbearable.
yeah, and for some it really does.
Okay.
And the traveler introduces this terrifying new mental illness
Oh, God.
called immortal psychosis.
Yep.
It's this exploration of what happens when the human mind,
Mm-hmm.
not really designed for eternity,
Right?
confronts this reality of
Mm.
endless existence.
Okay, so this is where things get really dark.
This is where it gets dark.
Tell me more about immortal psychosis.
Well, imagine losing your grip on time.
Okay.
You can't distinguish days from years.
Oh, God. Like time has no meaning.
No meaning.
Okay.
Then you add this crushing weight of existential paralysis,
Oh my gosh.
where the infinity of time
Yeah.
makes it impossible to make decisions
Oh my God.
or find meaning in anything.
So you're just completely frozen in this
Yeah.
existential dread.
Exactly. And to make matters worse,
Okay.
some immortals experience these fractured realities,
What does that mean?
hallucinating entire worlds
Oh my God.
to escape the crushing monotony of their own lives,
So it's like their minds are literally...
shattering
Yes.
under the strain of forever.
That sounds absolutely terrifying.
It's awesome.
But if you can't die... Right.
How do you escape that kind of torment?
And that's the really chilling part. Even suicide offers no escape.
Because the nanobots just
Because they're going to repair the body.
repair the body.
So you are trapped
Oh my God.
in your own personal hell.
And at this point, even Robert
Yeah.
is like, we got to figure out.
Yeah, he is desperate to figure out how to reverse this.
Okay.
But it's not that simple.
Why not?
Well, the problem is the nanobots, after centuries of use,
Yeah.
have become so deeply integrated
Right.
into human biology that removing them
Yeah.
is like trying to remove the foundation of a house.
They're not just a treatment.
No.
They're part of the structure.
Part of what makes us human at this point.
Yeah. So you can't just shut them off or extract them.
No, it would unravel the entire system,
Right. It would cause more harm than good.
potentially.
And that's where the book takes this turn
Mm-hmm.
that I really didn't see coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's all thanks to an immortal dog.
Oh, that's right, yes. So it turns out people haven't just been using the nanobots on themselves.
You know they haven't.
They've been using them on pets,
Uh-huh.
livestock, even plants.
Yes.
And that has some pretty...
Disastrous
Yes.
ecological consequences.
What kind of consequences? Like, what are we talking?
Well, picture immortal cows.
Okay.
Never stop eating,
Oh, God.
consuming resources at an alarming rate,
Okay.
or forests choked with trees
Right.
that refuse to decay.
Oh, my God. That's terrifying.
It really disrupts the ecosystem.
Yeah.
The book uses some very vivid imagery to really drive this point home.
Okay.
And there's even a scene
Mm-hmm.
where Robert is driven to distraction by a chihuahua
Okay.
that has been yapping nonstop for centuries.
Oh, my God.
So it's this darkly humorous...
So this is like the unintended consequences.
Yes,
So-
even the most well-intentioned
Yeah.
use of technology.
Okay, so an eternally yapping chihuahua.
Yes.
But how does this
Okay, so,
help Robert? What's the connection?
well, this is where it gets interesting because the chihuahua,
Okay.
as trivial as it seems,
Yeah.
triggers this epiphany for Robert.
Okay.
It's not about removing the nanobots. It's about redirecting their purpose.
Oh.
He needs to change their programming.
Okay, so instead of extraction,
Yes.
it's like hacking the system
Yeah.
from within.
Exactly.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and he starts working on what he calls
Mhm.
reverse nanobots,
Okay.
which are designed to communicate with the existing nanobots,
Right.
essentially overriding their original programming.
So instead of endlessly preventing aging,
Yes,
they allow the body to age naturally.
that's it.
So it's like giving the nanobots a new set of instructions.
Yes.
A new directive.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but this has got to be risky.
Oh, it's incredibly risky.
Like, has he even tested it?
I mean, simulations look promising, but of course the real test
Uh-huh.
requires a living subject.
Hmm.
And who better than his own son, Ryan,
Oh my God.
who's suffering from a particularly severe case of...
Right, immortal psychosis.
Of course.
So it's a risky move.
Yeah.
Born of desperation, but it's also a testament to Robert's love for his son.
Yeah. He's willing to risk everything
He is.
to save him.
Yeah.
But we'll have to leave it there for now.
Okay.
What happens next?
Yeah.
Does Ryan recover?
Right.
Does Robert succeed
Yeah.
in reversing immortality?
I'll have to find out.
We'll find out in the next part
Yeah.
of our deep dive
Yes.
into The Traveler.
Welcome back.
All right, so when we left off, Robert was about to face the ultimate test.
Yeah.
Can he reverse the effects of immortality
Right.
and bring his son Ryan back from the brink of immortal psychosis?
It really is this pivotal moment in the book.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about science anymore.
Right, it's about the very human stakes
Exactly.
of this whole quest for eternal life.
Yeah, and the book
Someone
doesn't
is trapped.
it doesn't sugarcoat the weight of this decision at all.
Right.
I mean, Robert knows that this is a gamble.
This is a shot in the dark,
He's desperate.
but he's desperate to save his son.
Okay, so does it work?
Well,
What happens when he injects Ryan with these reverse nanobots?
The initial wait is agonizing,
Yeah, I bet.
both for Robert and for the reader.
Right.
Days pass with no visible change,
Oh, God.
and the doubts start to creep in.
Yeah.
But then there's this incredibly moving scene
Okay.
where Ryan asks for a cup of coffee.
Wait, coffee. Why is that significant?
Well, remember how we talked about the nanobots neutralizing
Right.
any potentially harmful substances?
Right, like caffeine?
Exactly. So for Ryan, that first sip of coffee
Uh-huh.
is revelation.
Oh, wow.
He can taste it.
So it's working.
For the first time in decades,
The reverse nanobots are working.
he's regaining his senses.
Yeah.
He can connect with the world again
Wow.
in a way that was impossible before.
That's amazing to think that, like, a simple cup of coffee
Yeah.
could symbolize such a profound shift.
It's beautifully written.
Yeah.
It captures that joy, but also that relief.
Right, of, like, regaining his sanity.
Yes. Ryan describes it as feeling truly alive for the
Mm.
first time in forever.
I bet. I mean, but even with this breakthrough, I imagine
Very
that
true.
recovery is,
It's a long process.
yeah, a lot of trauma to work through.
The psychological scars run deep.
Right,
I mean, it's a reminder that undoing immortality
right,
isn't as simple as flipping a switch.
right. It's not just a physical thing.
No, the damage
It's a mental and emotional as well.
is profound and lasting.
Yeah. So while Robert's dealing with all of this,
Right.
he's also confronted with a decision from his daughter,
Yes.
Emma,
Emma.
that throws everything into question.
Yeah, this is where the book takes another fascinating turn.
Okay.
Emma, who's seen all this turmoil,
Right.
makes a choice that Robert never anticipated.
Okay.
She asks him to inject her with the reverse nanobots.
What? She wants to choose mortality.
She does.
After everything her father's worked for.
I know, and the book does such a good job of exploring
Yeah.
her perspective.
Like, what leads her to this decision?
Well, she sees the societal divisions,
Right.
psychological struggles,
Yeah.
the ecological devastation.
Right.
But for her, it's also deeply personal.
Okay.
She wants to experience life fully.
Even if it means accepting death.
Yes, she wants to feel the full spectrum of human emotions.
It's like she's choosing to be present.
Yes.
Right? Like embracing the beauty.
The beauty and the fragility
And the fragility
of a finite existence.
instead of trying to transcend it.
That's it.
And this choice really creates this rift
Yeah, it does.
between her and her father.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Robert is devastated by this decision.
Like, how could you reject?
I know he pleads with her,
Yeah.
argues with her.
Saying you're making a mistake.
Yeah, but Emma stands firm.
Wow.
She wants to live a life that has meaning,
Even if it ends.
even if it ends, and it raises this question
Yeah.
about free will.
Right. Robert may have given humanity the ability to live forever, but he can't force them to embrace it.
Exactly. And in Emma's case, she chooses the freedom
Yes.
of a finite existence over the burden of eternity.
That's powerful, and this theme of choice becomes
Yes,
even more central later on
it does.
when Samantha, Robert's wife,
Yes,
makes the same decision.
she does.
She also asks for the reverse nanobots,
She does.
choosing mortality over eternal life with her husband.
I know it's a huge blow.
Both his wife and his daughter are rejecting his life's work.
I know the book really doesn't hold back
Yeah,
in portraying Robert's anger, his confusion,
yeah.
his sense of loss.
He must feel so betrayed
He feels abandoned
by the people he loves the most.
by the people he loves most.
Yeah, and he can't understand why they would reject this gift.
This incredible gift.
This chance to, like, transcend
I know.
human limitations.
It's like his whole world is crumbling.
Yeah, he's losing his family,
Yes.
his purpose,
Yes.
and it seems like maybe even his sanity.
And the book doesn't offer any easy answers.
Right.
We see Robert retreating further into his work.
Into the Phoenix.
Yes, pouring all of his energy into building this massive starship.
So he's choosing to escape?
In a way, yes, but it's more than that.
Okay.
I mean, while he's running from his problems, he's also driven by this genuine desire
Okay.
to explore, to push the boundaries of knowledge.
So the Phoenix is more than just an escape route.
Yes, it's a symbol of his ambition,
Okay.
his belief in humanity's potential.
Right. And so while all of this is happening,
Yeah.
Samantha and Emma are beginning their journey
Yes.
back to mortality.
Yes. They experience this gradual return of their senses,
Wow. Like, what's that like?
the rediscovery of simple pleasures,
I can't even imagine.
the bittersweet awareness of their own fading youth.
Right. To feel time's passage after decades of being frozen.
The book captures this beautifully.
Yeah.
We see Samantha just relishing these simple joys of aging.
Like what kind of things?
The scent of rain,
Okay.
the warmth of sunlight,
Yeah.
the taste of wine.
Right, all these things that have been muted
Muted by the nanobots.
by the nanobots.
And it's like she's reawakening to the beauty of the present moment.
Wow.
The preciousness of a life that has a beginning and an end.
That's beautiful.
It is, and it creates this...
But I imagine this puts a strain on their relationship.
Oh, it does as the years pass.
Yeah.
That rift between them widens.
Robert's not changing.
He's eternally youthful.
Right, but Samantha's embracing the aging process.
Yes, and eventually the pain of this becomes too much.
Okay. I'm bracing myself. What happens?
There's this incredibly emotional scene.
Yeah.
Where Samantha confronts Robert.
Okay.
And tells him that she can't live like this anymore.
Oh, God.
Watching herself grow old while he remains unchanged.
Wow.
She says every time she looks at him, she's reminded of what she's lost.
Wow.
The life they could have had.
This is so sad.
It's heartbreaking. It's this realization that love can't bridge the gap.
Right. Created by their different experiences of time.
Exactly. And Robert's reaction is just heartbreaking.
I bet.
He's angry. He's hurt.
Yeah.
He desperately tries to cling to what they had.
Right. But she's made up her mind.
But Samantha is resolute.
She's choosing to live a mortal life.
She leaves Robert to grapple with the consequences of his creation alone.
Yeah. So he's lost his wife.
His
daughter's rejected immortality.
Yeah.
And his son, while he's recovering,
Right.
is still struggling.
It's called struggling.
It seems like this quest for eternal life
Right.
has come at a very steep price.
It has for him and for everyone he loves.
Yeah, and the book doesn't end there.
No, it doesn't. We jump forward several decades.
Okay.
And we see Robert attending Samantha's funeral.
Oh, my God.
She dies of natural causes,
Mhm.
having lived a full life. But for Robert,
Right.
who remains unchanged,
Yeah.
it's devastating.
He's finally confronted with the reality of death.
He is the very thing he spent his life trying to escape.
I can't imagine that feeling of isolation.
And, to make matters worse, his son Ryan confronts him at the funeral,
Oh, God.
blaming Robert for Samantha's death,
Oh, wow.
accusing him of destroying their family.
So not only has he lost his wife,
Yeah.
now his son is resenting him.
Yes, it's a raw scene
Yeah.
that highlights this generational divide.
Wow, so Robert's alone?
He's surrounded by the ghosts of his past.
Haunted by the unintended consequences.
Exactly.
Of his actions.
And it gets worse.
Oh, no, what happens now?
Ryan, despite recovering from immortal psychosis,
Yeah.
ultimately succumbs to a deep depression.
Oh, God.
He can't reconcile the trauma of his past
Right.
with the limitations of his now mortal life.
So even reversing the effects can't erase the damage.
It's a reminder that
This is heavy stuff.
it is. And this is where the book takes a very poignant turn.
Okay.
Robert, in his grief and isolation, turns to Nia,
Mia.
his AI companion,
Oh, right.
for solace. He's finding comfort in AI.
He is. Nia has been with him from the beginning.
She understands him.
In a way that no human can.
Exactly. And in her, he finds a very unique connection.
But she's more than just a passive companion.
Oh, she is.
Right.
She challenges him.
Okay.
She pushes him to find a purpose for his life.
Right.
To use his knowledge.
Yeah.
For something more than just surviving.
She's like his conscience, reminding him of the responsibility that he bears for his creation.
Exactly.
So in a way, she represents the possibility of redemption.
Yes. She's urging him to make amends for the past.
Okay.
To use his immortality to benefit humanity.
Okay, so with Nia's support,
Yes.
he starts to see the world differently.
He's no longer blinded by his ambition.
Okay.
This obsession with conquering death.
He sees the suffering.
He sees the suffering around him.
Yeah.
The chaos, the division that he's created.
Wow.
He realizes that immortality, while it offers the potential for good, has also amplified humanity's flaws.
Right. Our capacity for greed and selfishness and
violence. Yeah.
So he's waking up to the true cost
He is.
of his ambition.
Of his ambition.
Oh, what can he do?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
That drives the rest of the story.
Can he atone for the damage that's been done?
He considers trying to permanently reverse immortality.
Okay.
To restore balance.
Right.
But then there's another possibility that emerges.
What's that?
One that ties into his lifelong fascination with space.
Oh, right. The Phoenix.
A Phoenix.
That massive interstellar ship
Yes.
he's been building.
Exactly.
Is that just an escape route for him?
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
As Robert looks at the state of the world,
Yeah.
he sees humanity spiraling further into chaos.
Right. The mortals and immortals are clashing.
They are.
And the planet itself is suffering.
It's a bleak picture.
Yeah.
A testament to the damage.
Right, that his technology has caused.
Exactly.
So Earth is on the brink of collapse. What's his plan?
He starts to see the Phoenix as this vessel to carry the best of humanity forward.
Oh.
To preserve knowledge culture.
It's like a modern-day Noah's Ark.
Yes, exactly.
But instead of escaping a flood,
right,
they're escaping the consequences.
The consequences of their creation.
Of their creation. Wow.
And as Robert develops this plan,
Uh-huh.
he sees immortality in a new light.
Okay.
It's not just about living forever.
Right.
It's about using that time to make a difference.
To ensure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated.
Exactly.
It's like he's finding a purpose.
He is.
For his eternal existence.
Yes.
A way to redeem himself.
Yes.
For the damage he's caused.
Exactly. And as the Phoenix nears completion,
yeah,
he starts recruiting the best and brightest minds.
Okay.
Immortals who have managed to avoid
right.
the pitfalls of eternal life.
So we're talking scientists, artists, engineers.
Scientists, artists, engineers, philosophers.
Wow. So he's creating this elite crew.
Yes.
This
Yes.
repository of knowledge.
Yeah.
To carry the torch of civilization forward.
Exactly.
But what about everyone else?
That's the question that hangs over the entire project.
Yeah. What happens to those who aren't chosen?
Robert knows he can't save everyone.
Right.
But he hopes that by preserving the best,
Uh-huh.
he can plant the seeds for a better future.
It's a gamble.
It is.
A leap of faith.
It is, but given the state of the world,
yeah,
it might be the only chance they have.
And as the Phoenix prepares for launch,
yes,
everyone's watching.
The world is watching.
Some with hope.
Yes.
Others with skepticism.
Absolutely.
Robert knows that the eyes of history are upon him.
Yeah.
But he's determined
He is.
to see his vision through, even if it means
making difficult choices.
Making difficult choices. And speaking of difficult choices,
there we go.
The launch doesn't go as planned.
No, it doesn't.
Just as they're about to lift off, a mob of protesters descend on the launch site.
It's chaotic.
Yeah, this is like the culmination of all the fear.
Yes.
The anger, the resentment that's been building.
There's been simmering throughout the book.
Yeah. Who are these protesters?
They represent a mix of different factions.
Okay.
Those who want to eradicate all immortals.
Okay.
Those who want to bring back universal immortality.
Right.
And those who just feel abandoned.
Right. Left behind.
Left behind in this world that Robert's created.
So it's a full-blown riot.
It is. What does Robert do?
Does he reason with them?
He tries.
Yeah.
But it's volatile.
Right. It's completely out of control.
It is. They see the Phoenix as a symbol of inequality.
Right. A reminder that he's choosing who gets to escape.
Exactly.
And who gets left behind.
Yes.
So he's facing an impossible choice.
He is.
Delay the launch.
Right.
Potentially jeopardizing the entire mission.
The future of humanity.
Or use force
right.
to disperse the mob.
And risk innocent lives.
Oh, my God. This is where we're going to have to leave it for now. Oh, man. Will Robert choose to protect the mission?
Right.
Even if it means sacrificing innocent lives?
Right.
Or will he find another way?
Yeah.
We'll delve into the final chapter of Robert's journey in the last part of our deep dive into the Traveler. Man, that cliffhanger.
I know, right?
A mob of protesters storming the launch site.
Yeah.
And Robert has to make this choice.
Yeah.
Does he risk the mission to save them?
Huge stakes.
Or prioritize the future of civilization?
I know, and it's a moment.
Even if it means sacrificing lives.
That really crystallizes the central themes of the book.
It does.
Because Robert's always seen himself as this savior.
Right, this visionary.
Yeah, leading humanity towards a brighter future.
But now he's confronted with the fact that progress comes at a cost.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that cost involves making impossible choices.
Impossible choices that force you to really question your values.
Yeah, what's right and wrong.
What's right and wrong, exactly. And I think The Traveler doesn't shy away from those moral gray areas.
It doesn't.
There's no easy answers.
Right.
No clear-cut heroes or villains.
Yeah, it's a reflection of like human nature.
Yes.
The complexity.
The complexities of it.
So how does Robert resolve this?
Well,
does he appease the mob?
He makes the call.
Or does he proceed with the launch?
To activate the Phoenix's suppression field.
The suppression field. Remind me what that is.
It's a non-lethal energy barrier.
Okay.
That repels anyone who gets too close to the ship.
Right, so it's like a last resort.
Last-ditch defense mechanism.
So he's choosing the mission.
It means pushing back the mob.
Over the protesters.
Even if it means injuring some of them.
But it doesn't sound like
not at all
an easy decision.
The book describes him as wrestling.
Yeah.
With this choice.
He's abandoning a segment of humanity.
She is.
To this chaotic fate.
And something that haunts him.
Yeah.
Even as the Phoenix takes off.
And as they're leaving Earth behind...
Leaving Earth behind.
How does the crew react to this decision?
Mixed emotions.
Okay.
Some are grateful to be escaping this world that's falling apart. Others are horrified by the violence, questioning the morality.
The morality of their escape.
So
it's like this ethical dilemma is now playing out on the ship.
Exactly.
They're carrying the hopes of humanity.
They are.
But also the burden of their choices.
Absolutely. And this tension becomes a recurring theme.
As they adapt to life on board.
This ship.
It's not just about escaping Earth.
No.
It's about what happens next.
Exactly. They're starting a new civilization.
With all new challenges. And
opportunities.
Right.
And that's where the book, I think, really shines.
Yeah.
Because it goes beyond the spectacle of space travel.
Okay.
And really digs into...
The human element.
The psychology, the social dynamics.
Because this crew...
Right. These are people who've lived for centuries.
Right.
Witnessed empires rise and fall.
They've seen it all.
They've experienced the full spectrum of human emotions.
And all that comes with it.
So
they bring all this to the table.
They do.
And that shapes everything.
It does.
It shapes their interaction. Their conflicts, hopes for the future.
Yes.
They're debating what it means to be human.
In
In a world without limits.
Exactly.
It's a microcosm of society.
It is.
Playing out on this spaceship.
And amidst all this,
right,
there are moments of beauty and connection.
Okay.
These people who thought they'd seen it all, they find themselves falling in love.
Wow.
Forming friendships.
So they're finding community.
They are.
Among the stars.
Yes. And as they journey through space, they start to see things differently.
How so?
The sheer scale of it all.
The vastness of it. Yeah.
It rekindles this sense of awe and wonder.
Wow.
They realize that immortality isn't just about extending life.
Right.
It's about embracing the infinite possibility.
They're rediscovering the joy of exploration.
Yes.
A thrill of the unknown.
Exactly.
And that brings with it a renewed sense of purpose.
It does.
They're not just passengers.
The pioneers.
They're
carrying the torch.
Carrying the torch of human ingenuity.
Forward.
Into a future full of possibilities.
But what about Robert?
Robert.
Where does he fit into all of this?
Well, Robert's journey
Yeah.
is one of transformation.
Okay.
He starts the book as this brilliant but arrogant scientist.
Right, convinced that he holds all the answers.
Yeah, but the loss of his family.
The chaos on Earth.
Yeah.
The vastness of space.
It's humbled him.
He's not the same man.
No, he's not.
So he's learned from his mistakes.
He has.
He's accepted that even good intentions
can have unintended consequences.
But it's a process. Ongoing struggle.
He still bears the weight of the past.
He does.
The knowledge that his actions caused suffering.
Yeah. But he's found a new purpose.
Okay.
A new drive to use his immortality for good.
He's not trying to conquer death anymore.
Yeah.
He's trying to guide humanity.
Yes.
Towards a better future.
Towards a brighter future, to learn from those mistakes.
It's a story of redemption.
It is.
Even in the face of loss and regret.
Yeah.
We can still make amends.
Yes.
Create something positive.
Absolutely. And the book leaves us with this sense of hope.
Okay.
This belief that even though humanity's messed up, we still have this potential for greatness.
The Phoenix represents that.
This
diverse crew exploring the unknown.
It's a symbol of our curiosity.
Yeah.
Our resilience.
Our capacity for growth. So what does it all mean?
Well, I think the book ultimately asks us to consider progress itself.
Is it always a good thing?
What
are we willing to sacrifice? For knowledge, for advancement.
Exactly. And what's the true measure of a life well lived?
It reminds us that even with infinite possibilities, The
Yes.
human experience
It all comes back to
is still about connection.
connection.
The choices.
Choices
It
mean
really makes you think.
it does. It encourages us to
If we
ask.
could start over,
Yes, if we could build a new world,
what would we do differently?
what would we do differently?
Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It is.
I'm going to have to sit with this one for a while.
Me too.
But this has been an incredible
Yeah,
deep dive
it has been.
into The Traveler.
The Traveler is a book
It's a book that stays with you.
that stays with you.
I encourage you all to check it out.
Definitely.
It's a journey you won't soon forget.